Hello and welcome to We the People. 3 years ago this week, the Modi government launched its Smart Cities campaign, an ambitious plan to build 100 futuristic smart cities in India. But as this week's devastating flooding post the monsoons in Mumbai and Srinagar showed, perhaps fixing accident-prone metros is the greater task at hand. In Delhi, the plan to cut over 16,000 fully grown trees in a city that has the worst air quality in the world exposes just how much our cities are screaming for urban planning in India. Where does the Smart Cities mission stand today, 3 years into its launch? Are we a long way from setting up citizen-friendly and sustainable cities across India? We're asking tonight, is environmental degradation an acceptable price to pay for economic growth? Okay, I want to go to Jaydeep. Jaydeep, Vineet makes this important point, right? He says development has to come at a cost. Somebody has to pay. The question is, who is paying and who is gaining?
I think we should first look at the problem statement. We all are living, most of us here are living in our own cozy homes, and then we believe that others should not get access to it. There is a problem in terms of getting access to resources, and once one gets access to resources, it leads to destruction. That really happens. And the 16,000 trees getting cut is a large number, but how do we solve the problem of having more people accommodated, having low-cost accommodation? Have you seen the accommodation that constabulary, the police constabulary gets? It's really not something that humans can live in. There has to be a balance between these two forces where the problem statement is very large. Either we build new cities, and new cities can't be built overnight. It takes at least 10 to 15 years for a new city to come up on stream and start having enough accommodation. But in the meantime, if the proposed objective is to have densification in cities, which is what worldwide everybody is focusing on, and densification of cities, then one has to go vertically up, and then one has to solve the problems of not just trees, but also of water, of sanitation, of roads, of transportation, and so on and so forth. The problem that's coming up is that we are not having an institutionalized approach towards solving this. We are having a building coming up without the rest of the issues being looked at. We're not looking at the quality of air being degenerated because of traffic inside the city, and also because of activities outside the city. We're not controlling either of that. There has to be a large planned approach to it. And just to give a semblance of what we're talking about in terms of Delhi, Delhi and North Korea have roughly the same population. Just to give the magnitude. We need to have that kind of planning. It's larger than most countries in the world, and we are just treating it as a small town or a small village which is simply grown up.
Growing by the minute.
It's growing extremely fast, and we don't have any new cities. How many new cities have come up in the last 30, 40 years?
But I want to go back to my opening question in the introduction, right? Does it have to be at the cost of the environment? Does it have to be a direct trade-off between the two? Because, you know, many environmentalists would say that under this government, the Environment Ministry has just become a rubber stamp, and it is development at all cost. But the point is, we are paying for it, because according to a BCG report, they said that congestion in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore and Kolkata costs the economy 1.47 lakh crores annually. These are numbers that the government will understand. GDP is affected. World Bank report says rising temperatures, changing rainfall patterns will affect 2.8% of India's GDP by 2050. That the government is concerned about GDP. The public is concerned about the fact that I may save money on housing and rent in the city, but I'm paying more when I go to the doctor every month. I'm paying more when I go to the doctor every month for my child. So am I really saving money?
You know, my own report says we are having more than 1 million people dying because of air pollution. My own report says that. The point is that the issues need to be resolved in multiple ways. Trees being cut obviously is not a solution, but electrification of transportation clearly is a solution. How fast are we moving towards electrification of transportation? Are we providing tax benefits for electrification of transportation, which clearly is one of the largest sources of pollution. 80% of refined oil is used for transportation. And what happens when you burn the oil? You get carbon dioxide and all the PM 2.5 and PM 10 particles that come up. So we're not looking at the issue of sustainability in a much more integrated fashion, and we're trying to focus on one small project which is going to lead to housing being created at a certain cost. When the roads get created, when the highways get created, a larger number of trees get cut. I'm happy that people are getting sensitized to the fact that development is coming at a cost of trees getting cut, of environment getting hit. But at some point in time, we need to create a balance and have a far more integrated approach across all of these issues that we're talking about.
Okay. We have Mohandas Pai joining us. 1 second. I'll come back to you 1 second because I don't want to lose the line with him. He's joining us from Bangalore on Skype.
Of course.
So, Mr. Pai, your Twitter, you've described yourself on Twitter as a global citizen but a Bangalorean at heart. But you also believe in the concept that all cities need to have high rises. What would you say in response?
I'll tell you why. If you want to have a good environment, you need to concentrate people and their activity. When we did a sustainability report for Infosys, we reduced our energy consumption per capita by 50% in 5 years. 50%, we saved 330,000 tons of carbon every year. But we are surprised when we made the study to say the largest carbon footprint is because of commute. Now, if you have a sprawling city like Delhi, which is maybe 1,200 square kilometers because NCR region, then obviously people have to commute long distances. Concentrated high rise to confine people into a smaller area, they don't have to commute, along with public transportation and the metro, because the biggest carbon footprint comes through commute all over the world. If you look at Los Angeles,
Vineet has explained that. Mr. Pai, is there no way of building these high rises while incorporating the use of trees, as I'm sure you've seen on all your travels abroad?
Absolutely. Look,
there are atriums, many of these buildings that are made abroad incorporate the use of these trees. And do you know, are you confident that the government has actually considered that? The question is, we know that we are urbanizing. Are we doing planned urbanization?
Yeah, but it has to be planned urbanization. We need urban planners. Our urban areas don't have city planners, and I think it's a tragedy for the last 30 years. They've not been hiring enough city planners. We have to go high rise, and when you go high rise, we must use environmentally sustainable buildings. For example, if you paint the roof white, it reduces temperature by 3 to 4 degrees. There are many ways to reduce energy consumption.
But yet you are supporting this project in Delhi. You're saying this high rise must come up because it's in the heart of Delhi. It'll cut down transportation and commute.
Absolutely, and the Delhi is in a mess because of long leads, long transportation and commute. If you look at the PPM,
but you're okay with the trees being cut, 16,000 trees.
You see, mature trees should be replanted, smaller trees can be cut, and you must replant more.
Vineet, respond.
Yeah, so let me give this thing. One of the problem which is transportation has been solved in Mumbai. Let's just see, 99 kilometers been built on the metro, and this mass rapid transport system will probably help the people to travel in the electrical metros, which will reduce the pollution content there. Number 2, use of geospatial technology to plan Thane smart city is probably first time in India where ICT has been used very nicely there, and that particular technology cannot be used in Delhi because Delhi, the sewerage outputs, the water inflow, all have been done 60 years back.
My question is, when we plan economic development, do we give a priority to, do we even value the environment at all?
Of course.
So we have to factor into account, let's say, people like this, because there is a cost. We're saying development has to come, somebody has to pay the price. People are paying the price. People like her have paid the price. They've lost everything they've owned.
Of course. I think, and that's the point we're trying to make, that when you're planning, you need to take into consideration both the issues. Now look at the fact that where we are right now, the studio used to be densely wooded about 30-40 years back, and I live next door. This studio was created by cutting the trees off. Once we have this, and once we have our homes which were built by cutting the trees, now we are saying that we will not let others build their homes because that will lead to cutting trees and will make us uncomfortable.
I think what they're saying is there should be planned building.
Absolutely. So
and
I think some of the points that were being made was that it's possible that we can still keep the trees and build. Maybe it's possible, maybe less trees can be built, but the institutional approach is missing. I think one of the key words she mentioned was design. We are pushing every project as projects been pushed by management consultants or engineers or IT folks. The design part is missing. If you don't have design, then you will end up cutting the trees and filling up water bodies and taking out all the other environmental issues and not being considerate towards them. It's only when you bring in design that you can bring in harmony. But even then, given the population that we have, given the pressures that we have, there will be some impact, some significant impact on environment. The issue is much more fundamental than just the trees being cut, and the trees being cut is very important because it has at least rallied everybody together. The fact that we are intensely putting pressure on the resources that we have, every kind of resources, including air, including water, including sewage systems, and the fact that our water supply has become very good has led to the problem of sewage. If we had not supplied water, there would not have been any sewage. We have been very successful in providing water, and therefore now we have to deal with.
So we don't value it. You're saying the public doesn't value it.
Well, it's not just that. No, I'm not saying that public doesn't value that. I'm saying it's led to the problem of sewage getting created. But we did not plan that when we supply water, we must also treat the sewage.
Yes.
And therefore, what we're doing, we're dumping the sewage in the river that goes in our backyard.
Yeah.
And that's where we are saying that you do not have a completely integrated planning mechanism. We're picking up something, we're picking up a tree as an issue. Now, it's not just the tree. If you do not build this, you still have issues around what Mohandas Pai was talking about of vehicles coming in and creating pollution. So there has to be electrification, there has to be densification. Okay. And these concepts are well known in planning. They're nothing new.
We need a right to a home, but we also need the right to breathe. The task of building a world-class urban India is in a sustainable, planned manner. It is a tall order. Can our government rise to the task? And will we, the people, hold them accountable if they don't? That's the question we all have to ask ourselves. Are we going to speak up? Are we going to break the silence? That's it on We the People. Thank you. As we say, it's important to speak your mind, but it's also important to listen. Until next time, good night. Bye-bye.